Hey everyone, my name's Melissa, and in this video I'm going to show you how I wire wrap this large faceted gemstone. It's very similar to the design I made a couple weeks ago using a cabochon, but I figured out it'll work with faceted gemstones as well. This stone happens to be an 18 by 14 millimeter mystic quartz, so it's pretty substantial. It has a blue shimmer to it, so I decided to use sterling silver. The choice of wire is up to you. Depending on the size of your stone, you can bring your wire size down to 22 gauge if you want. I used 20 gauge on this one. I thought this was a fun way to wrap a faceted stone, so if you want to see how I made this, just stay tuned and I'll show you how. Okay, let's get started. So I grabbed this pendant. I made this really quick out of copper. This is a green mystic quartz, and see how I brought the bar across the back to kind of protect the back of the stone, and that's how we're going to wrap our faceted stone today. Here I happen to have a blue mystic quartz, and we're going to wrap it the same way. For this stone I'm going to use sterling silver. I think silver will complement this color a lot better. I'm using 20 gauge, round, dead soft, and I cut two lengths about 12 inches long each, and I'm going to find approximately the center of it, and I'm just going to shape it around my stone. If you saw my cabochon one, it was easy. The back of the stone is flat, and it's easy to get that laid out. But this time, I'm just kind of focus on the front here, where I'm going to get the top and the bottom of the stone wrapped, and it's going to come around the back. I try to aim for the center, but that one didn't work out. This one's kind of in the center, but we'll go with that. But I'll just show you the basics. And I just kind of work with how my wire is moving. I want to stay fluent with the wire. As you can see, this one comes over the top. I come across the same way, but it goes over the top. These wires are flowing differently, so I think I'm going to bring it around. I'm going to shape these wires in the direction that they want to move. And I'm just going to gently bend them. So I don't want to bend them too fast, where I end up putting kinks in them. My sterling silver is a lot more stiff than my copper, so I gotta be careful about that. You have to determine how far you want your wires to flare out from the stone, because you can make them super wide or you can bring them in nice and tight. Oh, I put a little kink there. Gotta be careful. When you get to the size you want, I take my flat nose pliers and grab your wires where they fold over this set of wires here, and I put a bend in them. Same with these, shape them right at the size you want it to be and where they cross the wires. Gotta put a bend in them. I'm gonna try to feed my wire around these wires, because you're gonna eventually wrap them around your frame. Kind of go through and shape everything before you go tying them down. I'm gonna cut these. Those are a little long. Okay, so let's tie down our wires here. Go at least once around. I think any more than that would be too much. Oops, these are overlapping. Don't let them overlap. Don't press them down too tight yet. Put your stone back in. See what adjusting you need to do. This design does take some finger strength. It takes a lot of wire manipulation. This one's still loose. You don't want them loose, of course. That'll just give your stone the opportunity to just loosen up and fall out. Let's trim that again and lock them down. Take the stone out. See how tight we can get these. That seems pretty locked in. Let's take these off. Okay, obviously it's not staying in, so we're going to need a bar. I think one of these will do. You just need one. And we're going to come across the back. And they usually end up below one of your other wraps and above the other one. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this around one side. Twice around looks good. And so that's going down, and we're gonna flip it over and go down on this side, or wrap downwards once you flip it over. Okay, and it's going across the back, the culet. And I'm just going to keep on tightening. I'm going to go back and forth and tighten so it's nice and snug across the back of my stone. Oops. Give these ends a snip. And Just need to start fiddling and tightening to get your stone nice and snug. And your frame may twist a little bit, but as long as it looks natural and flowing, because this one kind of twists. So I come back here and I'll give the wires a twist too. Same with these original wires. I put zigzags in them so they tighten up. I like to have these separated a little bit too. Like that, where they kind of are together on one end and then they separate. Okay, my stone is pretty secure now. I'm not sure if I like this flare. I think that it needs to be tightened up a little bit, so I'm going to go down here. Okay, free those up. Just gonna tighten this up a little more. Grab my round nose pliers this time so I can tease these, try to get them around this frame wire gently. Okay, just need to get them around one more time without making them look too chopped up. I think it's safe. Cut those off. They're getting tough to work with because, you know, the more you work with wire, they harden up and then it gets really tough to work with. Just need some gentle coaxing. My wire is chewed up a little bit. I like to avoid having to buff things out. Sometimes it's just what I have to do. And if you watched my other video doing this with a cabochon, I mentioned that this sterling silver seems extra stiff. But at least I can buff it. That doesn't look too bad. I think I'm gonna stop fiddling and go with that. I like the spread on these wires here. Trim this off. I don't want to see it from the front. I think I'm done fiddling. This other extra piece I'm going to turn into a jump ring. Grab a nice size wooden dowel. I think it's probably a 1/4 inch. Make a nice split ring. That's what it looks like. All right, time to buff. Here's how the pendant turned out after buffing. I got most of those chew marks out of the wire, so I buffed it and polished it. I ended up changing my split ring up here. I thought the other one made out of 20 gauge wire was a little too flimsy, so I went ahead and made an 18 gauge one and I made a 3-ring bail. So I think it turned out pretty good. What do you guys think? I think this is a pretty good alternative to wrapping a faceted stone. This one I went ahead and oxidized it and polished it up as well. This one's wrapped in copper, 20 gauge, and also has a, looks like a 16 gauge bail on it. But like I said, every one that I make turns out different. Yeah, so feel free to explore more possibilities. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and learned something new today. If you did, give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and don't forget to trust the journey. It can be frustrating at times, but stick with it. Have a great week, and I'll see you in the next one.